What's going on, guys? Gomer's here, and we're back for a big free agency spectacular. A fun time for anybody who isn't a fan of a small market team, because it's like, oh great, oh, we just signed relief pitcher Joe Smith. I'm so glad I pulled out my phone to check this notification. I'm so sure he's going to lead to tons of wins come April. And sure, it's a lot more fun for, fans of teams that'll actually spend a few dollars in free agency, but we're talking about 57 players. Really good guys, just whoever I felt like talking about. So we're going to go team by team. Not every team, not every player is going to be mentioned. So before you wild up in the comments, just cycle back to me saying this right here. Read my lips, okay? So we're going to talk about a ton of players, give my predictions. I want to hear your predictions in the comment section down below. Where's Javier Baez going to sign? Where is Ehire Adrianza going to be playing in 2022? Very big names that are going to lead to W's, no doubt. Leave a like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you guys are new, and let's get going. So like I said, not every team's going to get mentioned, but the Orioles, Jonathan VR, we're going to have him getting a little bit of a reunion. Was there for 2 seasons, 1.5, and probably at his best year, 24 home runs, 792 OPS in 2019. VR to the Orioles. Why not? Here's a big one. We're talking about Seiya Suzuki, the top international posted player for this upcoming season. Now, there's rumors where he might go. I'm going to say the Red Sox. In the Japan Central League last year, 38 home runs across just 131 games. I think he would be a big impact to that Red Sox team. A lot of comparisons to Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, Yankee fans might expect me here to say Correa, Verlander, Scherzer, Seager, trade for Matt Olson, for Luke Voigt and Clint Frazier. Realistically, I do think Corey Seager is going to go there. He's had tons of time to shine on the biggest stage, been to multiple World Series MVP against my Rays in the 2020 season. There are some injury concerns, but clearly he has so much talent. He is going to rake in big bucks and get a long tenured deal. Best offensive shortstop in this class that we have going, a very stacked shortstop class that is. And Jon Gray, also have him going to New York. Always tough to really see what Colorado pitchers have, being they play in Coors Field, which is very hitters friendly. 104 ERA plus, which adjusts for ballpark factor. This seems like a Yankees signing right here. Not sure if they're going to get a Scherzer or a Verlander, but Jon Gray, and I definitely do expect, all joking aside, that they will be very active on the trade market. The Blue Jays is going to be one of the teams to watch this free agency. Robbie Ray, I do think, is going to re-sign. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting right now. He was exceptional in 2021. Probably going to win the Cy Young in one Gomer's opinion. Just got to hope that he continues to show that he is a new and improved 2021 Robbie Ray, and not needs to have rays in his eyes for cataract surgery, because good Lord, he could not find the strike zone in the beginning of his career. James Paxton, injured all of 2021 for the Mariners. The Blue Jays maybe take a flyer on him. He is a Canadian-born player. He's going to be 33 coming into this next season. So I think some teams got to have some interest. Clearly, he's been a good pitcher in the past, and I think why not have the Canadian boy go up to Toronto? The Tigers, kind of surprising last year, crept their way towards the 500 mark in their first season under AJ Hinch, and no secret that they've been willing to spend big bucks this offseason. And Carlos Correa, the #1 free agent in the class, has been often linked to the Tigers, and I do think he's going to wind up in Detroit. Won the Platinum Glove in 2021. I mean, just great career so far. Ring technically under his belt so far. 34.1 career WAR across just 7 seasons. A little bit injury-riddled season, so again, kind of like Corey Seager, that is a concern, but the plays there. He's a great hitter and even better defender, if that's even possible. So this one already happened. Eduardo Rodriguez, who I promise you, I did predict this one. So I could get every other shit wrong, but I'm having one right, at least in this video. Eduardo Rodriguez did sign to the Tigers today, pitching in a pretty friendly Comerica Park. I think he's going to do a damn good job there. So he got 5 years, $77 million. And Tommy Pham is another one I'm going to predict for them. The outfield is not great defensively. They have Akil Baddoo coming up, of course, who had a pretty damn good 2021 season, but definitely got to improve defensively. That's a big ballpark. There's a lot of ground to cover. You can't have Robbie Grossman being the one that has to go chase down balls in those big alleys. So Tommy Pham, I still think he has it. He's getting older, but would still be a good addition for that Tigers team. The White Sox won their division. Looked a little pedestrian in the ALDS against Houston. They got to get a couple more players. Kyle Schwarber is one guy that I have going over there. He was great last year across Washington and Boston, 32 home runs and just 471 plate appearances. Now, he's not much of a defender, negative 1.3 defensive WAR last year, but, you know, I think there's a spot for him in right field. Christ, Eloy and Schwarber at the corner outfield spots. A little suspect, I would say. Yoshi Sasugo, I think, is a very interesting candidate. Now, of course, he was a free agent international player from 2020. The Rays got him. He wasn't very good. He played for 3 teams last year, the Rays, the Dodgers, and the Pirates, where he found some success. He had a 136 OPS plus with Pittsburgh, 8 home runs across 43 games, and he definitely showed some of that prospect that the Rays saw when they signed him in 2020. So I think this is a good guy to get a flyer on. Probably not going to be too expensive. And they could use a lefty bat on that team as well alongside Schwarber. And I think this team would really get pushed over the top with these 2 signings. The Cleveland Guardians donning a new name. Are they going to be donning some big free agents in this class? Probably not. Yan Gomes, I have him getting a reunion to Cleveland, was there for quite so many years, was an all-star in 2018, had a pretty good 2021, more so with Washington, a platoon catcher at this point, more so, 778 OPS with Washington, but just a 631, 75 OPS plus with Oakland after the trade deadline. He's 34, he's aging, why not go back to Cleveland? The Twins are in a weird spot. They won the Central in 19 and 20, back-to-back. Then they significantly underperformed last year, even though they had the roster to probably win the division a 3rd time. Yes, they traded Nelson Cruz, who is going to be signing back, in my opinion. He finally showed some age last year once he got traded to the Rays, just 103 OPS plus, which for regular players, not so bad, but when you're a DH is not so good. 725 OPS when he went to Tampa, 13 home runs in 55 games. I have him going back to Minnesota. There's been a lot of rumors of that happening. And I also have Alex Cobb going to the Twins. This is the epitome of a Minnesota Twins free agent signing. Injury-riddled pitcher who is past his prime and is at least 32 years or older. This has Minnesota Twins written all over it, and he was actually not so bad last year. In a shortened season, just 93 and a third innings pitched, 119 ERA plus, 2.92 FIP. So that's pretty promising and could help out that rotation a bit. The Angels, I think, and hope, are going to be big players this offseason. One would imagine they're going to finally realize, hey, we have Mike Trout, who's one of the greatest players of all time, and Shohei Ohtani, who's going to win the MVP this year. Perhaps we should bolster the team so we can make the fucking playoffs. Justin Verlander, I think, is going to end up in LA. He is going to be 39 by the time the 2022 season starts. Hasn't pitched technically since 2019, where he did win the Cy Young. And a lot of people who've seen him pitch in tryouts this offseason are saying JV is back. So the Angels might have a big acquisition on their hands right there. Marcus Strowman, I think, is also going to go to the Angels. Had a very good 2021 season, 3.02 ERA, 133 ERA plus with the Mets. Chris Taylor, I think, is also going to go to the Angels, and it would be a really interesting player to fit in alongside that team. He can play the infield. He can play the outfield. This is the kind of guy you want to have to plug in and play, and he can play all those spots very well. All-Star in 2021. Raisel Iglesias, the final one I have here, is going to resign. I mean, if the Angels are going to go all in this offseason in free agency, why not bring back your top-tier closer that you had last year who performed really well? Astros are also in an interesting spot. They've been in 3 World Series since 2017, of course, winning that year and losing in 2019 and 2021 respectively, and they're losing Correa. They lost Springer last year, but of course they have guys like Kyle Tucker, they have Yordan Alvarez, they have Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, a flurry of new players that are coming to replace them. Starling Marten, I think, is going to move from Oakland to Houston. He was very good in 2021 across Miami and Oakland. Boasted a 132 OPS plus, 47 stolen bases across both. Not a home run guy, just 12. And questions if he can still play center field. He had a negative 0.1 defensive WAR, but advanced metrics would determine he's probably more of a corner outfielder at this point. And Rich Hill, certainly an aging pitcher, going to be 42 next year. Hit or miss 2021 across the Mets and Tampa Bay Rays. I think he's going to go to Houston. Obviously, I don't have them getting back Verlander or Zach Greinke, so they got to have some old fart alongside the mix of young, talented starters. Heartbreaking end to the year for Mariners fans. It looked like they were going to break the 89-year streak of not making the postseason, but alas, they did what Seattle does best. Look at the Minnesota sports fan talking, huh? Kris Bryant, I do have going to Seattle. There was rumors of him getting traded there at the offseason break from the Cubs instead of the Giants, where he ended up. Kris Bryant was good in 2021. He was an all-star for the fourth time in his career, had a 124 OPS plus across Chicago and San Francisco. Defensively, can put him in a lot of spots, doesn't play them at a Gold Glove caliber or anything, but he does have that versatility. Put him in corner, infield, put him in the outfield. He can play all those spots. And then Danny Duffy, another free agent. Technically was a Royal and a Dodger, but did not pitch for Los Angeles. 184 ERA plus in 61 innings. Of course, that's the issue. Did have an injury last year, but proved to be damn good when he was on the field. So Kris Bryant, Danny Duffy is the crop I have going to Seattle. The Texas Rangers are a team I don't hear a lot amongst the big spenders speculated for this offseason, but I think they will be. I expect them to be active this free agency market, and Trevor Story would be a great place to start. Had a little bit of a disappointing season in Colorado, to say the least. Lord knows why he was even playing in Colorado in 2021, but he had a measly 801 OPS. Playing in Coors Field last year, hit 24 home runs. Of course, a great defender, 1.6 defensive WAR. Ended up having 4.2 WAR value on the year. So not a complete write-off of a season, just not as much as we were expecting playing in a contract year, being a free agent. So Clayton Kershaw, I don't see him going back to Los Angeles. They have guys like Scherzer to deal with. Trey Turner is going to be a free agent next season. They spent $900 million, but still couldn't make it past the 88-win Braves. So they probably have bigger issues than Kershaw, who was still good, in 2021. Injuries are the concern. Is he going to be available? And could you spend that money elsewhere? I think his hometown of Texas is where he's going to wind up. Jock Peterson, of course, World Series champion, Don on the Pearls for Atlanta last year. I think he's going to go to Texas. He was one that I had a hard time fitting in a certain place, but I think he would do well. The hot climate, balls really carry in Texas, so maybe he'll wind up there. Kirby Yates is real interesting. He was a top closer in 2019 with San Diego, then hardly pitched in 2020, didn't pitch at all in 2021 when he was with the Blue Jays. I just get a sort of feeling that Texas is going to make an offer with Kirby Yates. Again, this is going to be a low-risk candidate because probably not going to have to pay him too much. He's got a lot to prove after missing so much time these last two seasons. And then finally, Roberto Perez. Have another catcher there, was very disappointing last year. Had a good 2019, hit 24 home runs, but these last 2 years, a 34 and a 54 OPS plus respectively. Now, he's never been known to be an offensive player. He brings more so the defense, but negative 0.1 WAR last year for Cleveland. So another catcher, yeah, they have Sam Huff coming up soon enough, but a lot of free agents I see going to Texas this year. Marlins, very shocking in 2020, made the playoffs, even advanced past the wild card round and proceeded to be the Marlins in 2021. I think Avisail Garcia is a pretty good fit. He was great with the Brewers last year. 29 home runs, average defender, He's going to be 31 next year, and I think nice contract is going to be coming his way, and I think Miami's going to give it to him. The reigning champs, the Braves, what are they going to do to ensure their chances of going back-to-back? Well, a good place to start would be re-signing Freddie Freeman, the guy who's been there this whole ride. He was really good last year, an all-star yet again, a Silver Slugger yet again, and he's just proven to be consistent. Yes, he's 32. Yes, he's a first baseman. I have no doubt that he's going to continue to perform, and I don't think the Braves are too worried about it either. Jorge Solaire, the World Series MVP, I have him going back to Atlanta. Why? Acuna is going to be out for a little bit longer. Of course, he tore his ACL, and he was good, not just for the postseason. He had an 882 OPS, hit 14 home runs, and so I think Solaire, no reason not to bring him back in 2021. And a flyer, I have them getting Corey Kluber, a big issue for the Braves, staying healthy on the pitching end. Corey Kluber pitched a no-hitter and kind of was pretty good the rest of the season. Finished with a 112 ERA plus with the Yankees. I think he still has something left in the tank. He's going to be 36 next year. I see a good fit for him in Atlanta. The Mets, a very disappointing season in 2020. Yeah, nothing new for Mets fans to be disappointed. Javier Baez, I think, is a great fit. Yes, they had the quarrel with the Mets fans, but he was good. 886 OPS, a 141 OPS plus, and of course he's a fantastic defender. Him and Lindor are a great 1-2 punch at shortstop and second base. I really love them getting him back, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. Noah Syndergaard is going to pitch in the 2022 season. Probably, unless he gets hurt again. I think the Mets are going to bring him back. I think there would be a very good reason for Thor to take this qualifying offer to prove that he still has, you know, what he's shown in the past, an all-star pitcher. Kyle Seager is a new name they could bring in to add some depth to that team. A good third baseman. The Mariners, of course, decided not to bring him back. 100 OPS plus, so the epitome of average, but he did hit 35 home runs in Safeco Field, which is not the most hitter-friendly park by any means. I think he would have a good fit with the Mets. Aaron Loop is another re-sign I have for them. Was really good. A lefty arm out of the bullpen that was very reliable for them last year. ERA under 1, ERA plus at 4.22, at almost a 3 WAR, which is great for a relief pitcher. Mets do this, they will get in the playoffs. Probably. Hopefully. Speaking of underperform, the Philadelphia Phillies are another team you probably thought was going to have a bit better of a season than they did, although Harper might win the MVP. They got to do a few more things, and it starts with that bullpen. Kenley Janssen, it doesn't look like the Dodgers are going to bring him back. I think he would be a great fit in Philadelphia. I know he's been a bit inconsistent. I know Dodger fans have mixed feelings. It's like he's bipolar, wakes up, flips a coin, and decides, should I be good or not today? He could help out the Phillies a lot. He's by no means bad. He's good. Just, you know, occasionally, for every 4 good games, you'll have one shit the bed sort of relief appearance. Michael Pineda, I have going to the Phillies. Starting pitching has also been inconsistent for them. Last year for the Twins, 117 ERA plus, had a couple really good starts and otherwise kind of an average guy, but would be an addition for the team, no doubt. And then Michael Conforto, I have him staying in the division, going to the Phillies. He was not good last year. No other way to put it. 101 OPS plus and a total of a 0.8 WAR, so not too valuable. Didn't bring too much to the table. He's been great in the past, an all-star in 2017. I think he's going to prove it by playing his division rival and going with the Phillies. Sure, the Cubs sold last year, but I think a lot of people are misinterpreting that they're going to have another 6-year rebuilding term. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Nick Castellanos might sign back. Of course, he was there in 2019. He was great. The best he's ever been at over 1,000 OPS across 51 games. The DH spot might be opened up, of course, in the National League, which would be pristine to him going to a National League club. But he was a bit better defensively. Still not good, but he was better than Nick Castellanos is typically, where he's a man of errors and, you know, not a guy you'd want to have faith in with his glove, I should say. Then you say Kikuchi. The Mariners decided not to bring him back. There's been rumors of him going to the Cubs, and I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Was an all-star in 2021. Tale of the two halves for sure. Was better in the first and kind of fell off a bit towards the second half. But he would be a good fit with the Chicago Cubs, I think, who are going to need starting pitching. Seems like the Reds may have already missed their window. Contenders, made the playoffs last year, back to figuring shit out again. Mark Canha, I think, is going to sign there. He was pretty good for Oakland last year. Definitely not as good as he was in 2019, where he had a 146 OPS plus across 126 games. He has some stuff to prove, and I think he's going to do it in Cincinnati. Another playoff disappointment, the Brewers. You think with that pitching core, they need more. And Andrew McCutchen, I think, would be a good start. Of course, I don't have them bringing back Avisail Garcia. Andrew McCutchen, he's old. He's going to be 35 next year. Still had a near 800 OPS. Hit 27 home runs. Terrible defensively, but hey, hopefully they do have the DH next year. And then Eduardo Escobar, I have him going back to Milwaukee as well. 800 OPS when he got there through 48 games, although only 6 home runs there. I do like him a lot. I think he brings a lot to the table. Again, positional versatility, switch hitter, and no doubt that he is going to bounce back and be good for Milwaukee in 2021. 2. The Cardinals, I don't think they have to do a ton. Albert Pujols is a name often linked to go back, likely his last season. Hopefully can chase down 700, although he is 21 away. Would be great if the DH is brought to the NL because he would fit well in that spot. I don't really see him taking at-bats, taking appearances away from Paul Goldschmidt. So Carlos Rodon, a pretty interesting question mark for this next year. He broke out in 2021, was an all-star, but injuries again got to him. He was great when he did play, 183 ERA plus, 2.65 FIP. Had a really good strikeout number, but injuries is the concern. Although I do think he's still going to field a good-sized contract. Rockies kind of in limbo. I have Anthony DeSclafani going over there. Was quite good for the Giants last year. 167.2 innings pitched, and he had a 129 ERA plus in that frame. Not sure if the Rockies are going to be players. They weren't so bad last year in that really stacked NL West. They were great at home. So DeSclafani is going to go to Colorado. The Dodgers dealt with a lot, tons of injuries. Cody Bellinger turning to shit. Trevor Bauer being a piece of shit. And still managed to find their way in the NLCS. Max Scherzer being a big part, taking over that Bauer role. I think he's going to go back. He says he wants to play in the NL West, and this is what I mean. I think there's a lot more reason to bring Scherzer back, although he is older than Kershaw. He's just going to bring more value. Greinke, I think, is going to make a Dodger reunion. He was great. He would have been a Cy Young if it wasn't for his teammate Clayton Kershaw in 2015. Showing his age, no doubt, but future Hall of Famer, I think, is going to go to LA. Kendall Graveman, another Astro last year. He was so good in Seattle. And I think the Dodgers, who are always very active when it comes to the reliever market, they're going to lose Kenley. I think they're going to bring in Kendall and Eddie Rosario. I have going to the Dodgers as well. A great right-handed hitter. Was a postseason hero, the NLCS MVP, so maybe he's going to change sides and go to LA right here and help them out. Speaking of reunions, I have the Padres having a couple. Anthony Rizzo, who began his career in San Diego, and he's going to go back there. Only a 1.7 WAR player last year across Chicago and New York. Hit 23 home runs in 141 games, 111 OPS plus. Bit of a down year, but he's not that old. He's 32. And Trevor Rosenthal, another reunion. He was great for them in 2020. 10 innings, 0.09 FIP. So I think that kind of makes sense. Didn't pitch at all last year in Oakland. He was injured. I think he's going to be going back to San Diego and hopefully lead them to more than, 77 wins. And finally, the Giants were surprising as all hell, winning the NL West last year, taking it from the Dodgers. I think it's smart to not take your foot off the gas pedal. Posey retired. Bring in Marcus Semien. I think this is what they need. They need to bring in a big all-star player to really help out that team. Hit 45 home runs in Toronto last year. Had a 7.3 WAR. Very good. He would be a fantastic addition in the Bay Area. Kevin Gausman, I see him re-signing. Resurged his career in 2020 and 2021 with the Giants, an all-star last year. I think he would be a great idea to bring back. Another one bringing back Brandon Belt, who was used extensively as a platoon player under Gabe Kapler last year, which proved to work very well. Had an OPS of nearly over 1,000, 29 home runs in under 100 games. Brad Miller, I think, would be a good addition. This is the kind of guy you want off the bench. Can play a lot of positions in the infield and outfield and has a power bat. This is a great addition for the Giants, in my opinion. So that's going to do it. 57 players we talked about. Most teams, of course, some I didn't mention. Are they going to sign somebody? Yeah, just not anybody I wanted to talk about. Am I going to be right on all of these? Probably, but time will probably not, but time will tell. We'll come back to this and see how many I got right. I have one with Eduardo Rodriguez and hopefully a couple more to come. Let me know again in the comment section who you have your favorite team signing. And thank you all for watching. Leave a like if you guys enjoy. Hope you guys have a great day. There you guys, out. Yates.